Welcome back, everybody. It's time now for Game 2, Na'Vi versus Team Empire. I'm Gods, and joining me for this game is going to be Vikramond. You caught most of Game 1, Vic, and Team Empire upsetting most people, beating Na'Vi in Game 1.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly an upset. I'm not going to deny that. I do think that Empire are it's people are always surprised and they keep winning, and every time they win, everybody's like, "Whoa, who's this team? I don't know,
Yeah,
these guys were good." They're like the most underrated team in Dota. But I am surprised at this draft though. They're going super pocket for this one.
they did this exact same draft in one of their games earlier today. They
Oh yeah.
versed Power Rangers. Yeah, they versed Power Rangers in their first match. Game 1, they had a fairly normalist draft. Then Game 2, they pulled an Abaddon Viper out of nowhere in the first two picks. Abaddon going to be great against Venomancer, the shield against the Gale, as well as the ultimate. But Puppy, he also played a Venomancer earlier today where he didn't even get Gale. So
Right, I saw that.
it's really, I don't know. This is potentially a crazy game with these two drafts coming out. Empire definitely some kind of a pocket strategy. Na'Vi just like to straight up jungle their Venomancer. So
Yeah. The no Gale Veno isn't bad at all. I mean, the fact that the wards apply Sting means that
yeah.
you can definitely have a viable strategy built around applying the Sting. And Sting has been an insane ability for a couple patches now. Like, if you max that first, that last rank of it, giving it the additional 3 seconds, getting it to 20 DPS is pretty insane.
It's definitely the
But
build
yeah,
where you have like the most damage output as a Venomancer, it feels like, and it's reliable damage output. Like the Plague Wards are also good at pushing, at stopping pushes. You can solo push lanes.
yeah.
You're just such a versatile hero with that build.
Definitely. So Abaddon's a good way to counteract that. We've seen different teams take different approaches against Venomancer because he really is a very, very high impact hero as long as he gets a few levels and is even anywhere near a fight. I saw Navi in a previous game. I can't remember if that was a BTS game or not, but they went like 3 Vanguards just to block the hits of the wards, and that was actually really effective. But Abaddon's a way that you don't have to change your item build out. You just pick up this hero and you can do a lot to just chase the Veno around. You can remove debuffs, and he's good with Viper. I mean, this is sort of like Abaddon Weaver.
Yeah.
Like you just put it on the Viper and run in.
Yeah, they were just fighting a lot early on. Like they were TP in the Abaddon. The other thing they did is they ran dual lanes here. Like they had a 2-1-2 laning setup, which I imagine we may see something similar. They have the Abaddon +1 in the off lane. Could be with the Viper. I think they had the Viper in the safe lane earlier today. The game's already... I say today, but this was the first game of today, which for those of you who've been with us the entire broadcast for TECHLABS, thank you. It was 13 or... Oh, no, sorry. It's like 15 hours ago we started. We started at 10 p.m. my time last night, and it's now 1 p.m. the next day. So, long delays and a very early start is the other thing here. These teams were playing... Empire had their first game at like 8 or 9 in the morning, and now they're still here at 9 or 10 p.m. at night, and they have their next match. So they've been waiting around a long time for this series.
Mm. Yeah, it's. I mean, these teams are obviously used to. I think all these guys are pretty used to a LAN environment where you don't know the delays, especially if there's other games running. You have to wait, but there's just a pure human endurance aspect to it. Are they going to play the grand final today? Like, is it going all the way through?
This is a double elimination bracket. So
oh, okay.
The loser bracket matches will both be tomorrow, which is like I think the loser bracket semifinal PR against Virtus Pro is at 7 a.m. CET, which is of course not as early as it sounds for the it's a 1 or 2 hour difference to Moscow from CET. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it should be 2 hours, I think.
Okay, so that's like 9 a.m. for those guys. Then I think it's 13 CET is the loser bracket final, and the grand final is scheduled at 17 CET. But the grand finals is played on the main stage, like this game, so that could end up being delayed 2 to 3 hours, depending how the schedule for the main stage goes.
So with Shadow Shaman added, this is a hero that I actually haven't seen Empire play with that much. Although, did they pick this in the earlier lineup that they ran
They had
against
a
Power
Crystal
Rangers?
Maiden as their support, I want to say. Don't quote me on that, but I believe they had a CM +1, like a CM Viper or something in their safe lane, then an Abaddon +1 in the off lane.
Sure,
That's
a great combo too, CM Viper.
I think this Shadow Shaman's just gonna be their safe lane support to go with some kind of maybe with the Viper, and then they get a different hero to go with the Abaddon into the off lane, but. Whatever it may be, Na'Vi, if they go for that kind of jungle-type Venomancer, that's where that dual lane in the off-lane can really just cause a lot of problems, because Na'Vi only have 2 heroes up against it. Visage, like his damage output when it's just a dual lane versus dual lane is nowhere near as impressive as a tri-lane versus tri-lane.
Yeah, I actually think that the Visage is, as you said, going to be fairly weak lane. Empire is very, very likely to run duels. You don't really want to run Abaddon in a tri lane if you can help it. You want to try to set up that duel so he gets a little bit of extra levels and you can pressure effectively there. Also, Visage just isn't that great against like the Viper Abaddon lane in general.
Yeah.
Grave Chill can get removed, which is critical to keep people in range. The nuke is not going to do too much to Viper as long as he gets a couple ranks of corrosive skin, which gives him the MR. So far, Empire very, very strong lanes. I think that's why you see Navi actually add the NS on here. Not only does it take it off of Empire's possible slate, which they've been playing a lot of, but also it gives them a little bit more dynamic lanes where they can rotate the Night Stalker around. My question is whether it's going to be Dendi or Hwost on that NS.
Yeah, they could easily run it in maybe as a part of their trial here. This is what actually Empire had in their earlier match today. I'm not sure if Navi would have seen it, but that was their solo mid when they picked up the Abaddon Viper type strategy. But there's definitely countless replacements for something like a Night Stalker in the mid lane. Even if you want to be aggressive, they can go for something like the Park. Resolution has shown that I feel like Resolution has added a lot to this team just because his hero pool just seems to be a bit more versatile than Scandal. Like Scandal obviously known for his 2 or 3 heroes, but Resolution is showing he can play those more passive style heroes, be it your like he played Brewmaster one game. He can then play the aggressive style heroes like your Night Stalker. He's playing like a lot of these more just tempo melee controller tempo heroes rather than heroes that need farm.
Yeah, Resolution. Yeah, this is also something I've been keeping an eye on. Scandal is an incredible mid player, but Resolution I think has so much room to grow as well, and he already has these moments of just shocking levels of brilliance on some heroes that I don't think it's necessarily a straight upgrade for Empire just yet, but it's a reasonable side grade. Where, as you said, he has a pretty broad hero pool. He doesn't really concern himself. Like it's surprisingly for a young player, he doesn't always just go in and try to get kills like some of the other young mids we see, and he's not too greedy about farm either. Like I'm comparing to people like CTY who have a lot of natural talent, but don't play with their team as much. Resolution's much better about that.
And the other thing is, which seems to be the big reason, according to Gossip Gamers, is that Scandal just didn't want to practice. That's what LD was telling me earlier today. So
interesting.
It seems a thing where moving forward, if they want to be a serious contender, they want to go to TI4 and make some waves happen there. They want to have that sort of more dedicated player.
Sure.
Well, they go with the Mirana. This could be your offlane, your Abaddon Mirana. You can put your Abaddon Viper in the offlane and put the Shadow Shaman with the Mirana at safe lane. But this to me is your 2 dual lanes here. You've got your 2 supports picked up. You've got your 2 kind of side lane heroes. They haven't picked up a mid yet. That'll come last, but the mid they've got plenty of options. They've already got 2 core heroes with the Mirana Viper. They can pick something more safe and passive that's more like a setup, something like a Dragon Knight. They can just go for some kind of another core hero if they really want. Against a Night Stalker, there's so many heroes you can actually lane against him, being a melee hero who doesn't really control or dominate the lane.
Yeah, certainly. The issue, I like the DK in general just to have a lot of tanky options, but he would get slowed quite a bit by heroes like Venomancer and Visage. It might be difficult for DK to actually get to the fight. They might go with something a little bit more mobile. The Night Stalker presents an interesting issue. Like, you and I were discussing this before the game, but last game I just felt that 5th pick Night Stalker for Empire just moved them into almost complete outdraft territory. Because there's certain int mids like Quap, which is what Navi were running, that have an extremely hard time. Like, if they eat that silence, it compels them to have to get a BKB, even if they wouldn't otherwise want one. So Crippling Fear is almost game-breaking at night if you max it.
I mean, and it's one of those things where you look at Navi had already got the Queen of Pain, and they're probably thinking, hey, we've got a Queen of... No, they're not thinking that, but a lot of people are probably saying, hey, like, Night Stalker doesn't match up well against Queen of Pain in the early game laning stage, but the hero itself just gets off and rolling so much early. Even if you don't last hit well in the lane, like, you can just do so much more than a Queen of Pain in the early to mid game.
For sure. It's interesting, by the way, to me, how much Navi has targeted Mag in this ban stage. They took out the Clockwork, the Doom, and the Lone Druid. Not to mention, I think I've actually seen Mag on Elder Titan once or twice. So at least 3 bans directly targeted at this player. His Clockwork is one of the best. His Doom, I think, actually is the best, just statistically. And they go with Storm. So I think this makes a lot of sense. Storm is a hero who, unlike Quap, he can integrate BKB into his build without it necessarily totally crippling him. And he has a little bit more mobility than her. He can do more early without farm.
Yeah, it's a bit less of like a core hero. He's a good setup and stuff. I feel like if you have a Stormfrit who's kind of like a little bit behind, struggling for farm, he can still have an impact. Whereas Queen of Pain, like you've got some magic nuke damage, but that's really all you've got to it. Storm, you've got the disable, you've got the initiation options as well.
Yeah. So basically, it's funny because I think they might end up having Mag on the Viper, even though Navi spent 2 more bans on him afterwards. So
Yeah,
it's
either
a little bit
Viper or
less
Mirana.
efficient banning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
depending how they look to lane this one. I
10 seconds
think
remaining.
maybe Navi just didn't see some of those earlier games and they're expecting the Viper or Mirana to be
5
mid because
seconds
that
Yeah.
lone druid ban just didn't really seem necessary against this.
I agree. I don't think the LD ban was that
Ooh,
that
OD
strong.
picked up. I
Yeah.
wonder if this forces Empire or makes Empire even consider sending the Viper mid against the OD and putting the Storm Spirit in the safe lane.
The thing about Viper is that he doesn't win lane against Outworld Devourer. Like
Yeah, he matches up a little bit better though, I feel.
he matches up slightly better, but by less than a lot of people think. I think the
Okay.
matchup is actually tilted pretty heavily in OD's favor.
Prepare
So
for
they might
battle.
have to experiment, yeah. It's pretty decent against OD mid is Abaddon mid, but I don't think they can.
Really?
I don't think they can afford to.
Thank you.
It's pretty good. It's not that bad of a matchup. Your base damage is amazing.
Yeah.
Your spells are pretty cheap, but they just can't do it with. They can't put the rest of the heroes in a lane configuration that makes that work.
Yeah, I think it's more if they want to guarantee the Storm, the guaranteed farm, they might want to put him in the safe lane since he'll struggle mid against the OD, which means
I think so.
well, you either have to put Viper mid or Mirana could go mid with like a Wraith Band and some regen pool. Definitely a possibility, but
Yeah.
that would you still get Outlast hit there just because OD steals your intel. You can't use your nukes too much.
Yeah,
And
I think
OD
I
just
think
has more
Mirana probably you can't do just because OD, as you said, he does after 1 or 2 prisons, he does more double Mirana's damage, right? So
yeah.
you just lose straight up because you're unable to get any last hits.
Well, we'll introduce our two teams here. This is game 2. Empire surprisingly took game 1 somewhat. They're going to be playing on the Radiant side this time around. It'll be silent on the Karamirana. Always want to fly on the support Shadow Shaman. Vengscore, your other support on the Abaddon. Resolution on a Storm Spirit. He is heading towards the mid lane. Triple Tango shared pool. And Mag is going to be on your Viper. Heading to the off lane with the Abaddon.
Yep. And sorry, that was Empire.
Yeah.
And I mean, for Navi, it's going to be Dendi in the middle on the OD. Dendi's had some of the best OD games, actually. I think there was one where he got 79 denies in the TI3 prelims. So we'll see just how he's able to do in this lane. Hvost is going up on the Night Stalker. It looks like into the hard lane, so the bot lane. He'll be joined by Kuroki on the support Visage. And then it leaves the top lane composed of Puppy on the Veno. We'll see if it's jungle Veno or lane Veno. And Funnick on the Beastmaster.
I think it's going to be a straight up jungle Veno. He's going to leave the Beastmaster to get some soul experience because of like Veno Beastmaster. There's not really a whole lot they're going to be doing in a dual lane versus dual lane setup here. They're better off just leaving Beastmaster to maybe struggle a bit in the lane, get some solo experience, and it could also force the Abaddon out of the lane who just leaves like top lane. It's actually going to be here we go. Lane rotations are happening. Empire end up sending Mag mid. He's got the Wraith Band first, and Mirana's heading up top, so Silence should free farm pretty well at top lane. The problem may come from the Storm at bottom, but they can always rotate the Abaddon down here as well if they want to.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I think we got to look at is definitely what actually happens mid. Does Empire commit a lot to rotating people around to try to gank him? They might, because Beastmaster versus Mirana's not really in danger. Like, if the Veno rotates, gets a Gale, she can probably still leap post to Gale. So until level 6 for Beastmaster, when it gets really scary, you basically have an Abaddon that's free to rotate if he needs to. And for me, it's just gotta keep watching the OD versus Viper. If they gank OD, then I think, yeah, Viper can win the matchup. Otherwise, I don't know. I think Viper, it seems like a hero who in theory should dominate, but in practice you actually usually see equal skill the OD winning.
Always want to fly taking a lot of damage at bottom lane. Havos didn't actually use his Void there. It was his second Void there. Could have maybe gone for a kill, but as it is, always when a fly takes a lot of damage here. The big thing is here for me is like your Venomancer's gone for the poison thing. He's going to be kind of just straight up jungling, so he can't help out too much at the top lane. And Empire, at the same time, they can't really gank Dendi at mid too easily because they haven't got good roamers. Your Abaddon at top is the hero, well, from the lane you'd want to rotate, but Abaddon's not a ganker. Your Shadow Shaman's really stuck at bottom lane against this dual lane, so I feel like they can't really gank Dendi at mid.
Yeah, certainly Resolution's just not going to have a sufficiently easy time for like I definitely don't think that the Shadow Shaman can leave. The Abaddon, I don't know, maybe. Either way,
I
Puppy
mean,
has come
he
more
can
into
leave,
lane.
but like he's not going to kill the OD with a gank. It doesn't feel like.
That's true. That's true. I
it's
mean,
more,
they
it's
have
like
to
he
wait
can-
at least until Mag has ult, probably.
Yeah.
Just because Abaddon's has no disables, and Curse of Avernus isn't going to do it.
Maybe just adds a bit of extra damage, yeah, with a miscoil as well as some shield blow up damage. But
Yeah.
we'll see what happens here in some of these lanes here. Voss is at bottom. He's already picked up an early Magic 6 CS to him with Karoki. I like sending the Visage bottom here in like a somewhat offensive dual lane here. It's not really no longer really the hard lane here in the bottom lane with the new creep equilibrium changing, and knowing Empire running these dual lanes is actually one of the safer places to send these two heroes.
Yep. So far, I mean, I think it's going okay for both teams, except for the fact that it's actually since the patch, this is a little bit better, because even though Dendi has 6 more denies than Mag has in the mid lane, Mag isn't losing that much XP because ranged heroes now get it back.
Yeah.
If this was 6.78, Mag would already be half a level behind, more.
They're almost, it's like a 100-ish experience difference between the two heroes, so it's a very small difference here. And so Mag being on par with CS, if anything, he's actually starting to pull away a bit on the actual last hit, so he's actually doing better than Dendi in some ways in mid lane.
Yeah, the lane equilibrium has gotten a little bit away from Dendi, but...
And with the haste room picked up by Abaddon, he doesn't really want to push out as well, because the Abaddon could come in. Not so much it's going to kill, but just really annoy him and get some good harass down.
Yeah. But in the bottom lane, it's actually going very, very, very well for Navi. And I think that's the main difference is, even though Storm's getting some farm, Hvost is getting levels. It's going to be nighttime soon, which will let him pressure the lane very heavily. In fact, Hvost, to make an impact, doesn't even necessarily need to leave this lane, because once night begins, he'll be able to more or less zone out resolution completely.
And in the top lane, it's also going really well for Navi. Beastmaster's your top CS. He's got 16 CS. Sure, your Mirana also has 14, but this, like, safe lane Beastmaster has gone for a boots first, and he's just last hitting really well against this Mirana.
Yeah. Mirana not really able to keep the Beastmaster away meaningfully at all. I do think that the OD pick messed this up a little bit for Empire. It was a good pick for Navi because it forced Empire to run lanes that weren't... They had a very particular lineup. Like, when you draft Abaddon so early, you always have, like, a particular lane arrangement in mind, and that lane arrangement had a wrench thrown into it by Navi's picks.
Well, we are going to see Puppy start off with some semi-jungle here. He's actually going to point in the Gale this time around, though.
Yeah.
Deciding he wants to add that extra slow with the Quillbore from the Beastmaster. That slow is going to get very, very strong.
Absolutely. Doesn't it stacks with the poison sting, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to say about this mid lane, because I think it's a really, really interesting matchup. Because he's up against OD, Viper has got an extremely unusual skill build, and so he's doing better in lane. He's 16 for 4, but the flip side is he's horrible for anything else. Like, check out his attempt at stopping this game.
Yeah, he can't really do a whole lot here. He doesn't have the corrosive. He's going to turn around and fight here. If he gets some more damage on Puppy, not quite
because
enough.
all he has is Nether Toxin.
Yeah.
He can't even get Puppy to the range where it's going to kill him. So that's the thing. Yes, Viper can pull the lane even by going deep into Nether Toxin, but then Viper is a useless hero. He does nothing other than lane.
Yep. First blood to Na'Vi, picked up by the OD. That's going to really boost up Dendi. What's he actually going to be flying out here? It looks like all sorts of little things here. Magic wand, some boots, a bottle as well. And Puppy rotates towards the bottom lane, so they're going to have 3 heroes bottom. It's just hit nighttime as well. As we do see only now some people getting their items for first blood. But Na'Vi have 3 heroes as it hits nighttime in bottom lane. This is dangerous for Empire here. Shadow Shaman very prone to dying. Stormspirit as well, only level 4.5, so these heroes have to just hug their tower.
The differential, because Always Wanna Fly only has... It's smart that he went so early brown boots, because it'll at least give him a little bit maneuverability. The Night Stalker now, with phase boots at nighttime, travels like more than 100 faster than the Shadow Shaman. So they're going to have to be very, very careful about positioning throughout the next 4 minutes.
They rotate their Abaddon bottom just as soon as they see that Venomancer. They realize that this bottom lane is not a very safe place to be. Level 2 Soul Assumption is up. They drop a Grave Chill here and Always Wanna Fly, but no real follow-up here. Na'Vi at the same time, they can get these kills, but they don't want to overextend for them because they will get punished. When you've got an Abaddon there who can shield and miscoil whoever you go on, it's very risky to be throwing too much in on this bottom lane.
Yeah. Oh, there's the Shackle.
Shackles are there. Actually going to try and go into Vossi with a Hex. He may just try to get this kill. It's nighttime. He's got phase boots. They're on cooldown for a bit longer. The Salve not going to even save him. Storm Spirit gets the kill. That one last overload. It's level 3 overload. They get that kill.
Yep. I do think that
big mistake from Havost.
It was, definitely. He felt too confident with what he was actually doing for the fact that all he had there was a Visage, so Kuroki isn't going to actually be able to stop the gank coming in. It would have been even easier. They could have just miscalled them to death even, but...
It was good recognition from Empire that they could actually kill him. They only just got him with the last overload. If he goes for like the strength threads instead of the phase boots, they don't get that kill. So it was a lot of like there's just small things they recognized. The phase boots even was on cooldown. He had to wait to pop the phase even after the shackles wore off. He couldn't actually use it right away to try and escape.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Navi's draft is very, very good this game, but they do have to be careful. If you give a lineup with Storm, Viper, Mirana, and Inch, or even just the Storm, they're going to take a mile. Once Storm's able to get free space and farm up like an item, even one thing, like even if he gets an Orchid at a good time, it's going to be a little bit delayed just given his start, but Storm can definitely just seize this game by the lapels, kind of.
Let's see what Navi look to do now. They've got level 6 from the Beastmaster, so they've got Raw coming into the playing field. Beastmaster also botting himself up an Invis rune at the top lane, so they can start looking to get Funnick involved to help with some of these clashes going on.
Yep. And that'll actually, I mean, at the very least, they can probably kill Mag again if they move Funnick over. They might just wait for... I'm not sure. I think the fact that Hwost died meant that they're going to take this first night phase a little bit easy and try to dominate the second one.
Yeah. I guess you could have Night Stalker looking to continue farming and CSing and just use the Beastmaster maybe to rotate and start getting ganks here. Navi, though, they need the smokes here because both Beastmaster and Night Stalker, their rotations are on the map very easy to spot with Observe wards, with lane wards. So this is where I feel Navi really need to get smokes up, and later on they almost need like blink daggers on this Beastmaster just to help with the initiation.
Do have a rune.
Well,
so he's invis, but he sees 3 people.
You can immediately get that roar off with a shield, and this is where picking Beastmaster after an Abaddon pick is a bit unexpected. Arrow gonna catch out Denny in the mid lane. They're actually gonna look to go in. This Mag doesn't have mana for the Viper Strike. He's got 13 mana pull. Raw goes down here. Denny's gonna die regardless, and the shield immediately gets rid of the Raw. Funnick's on the run. He's gonna be okay, but he can't even use poison attack.
Right.
That's a sad, sad sight for a Viper.
It's definitely not. It's not a fun lane at all for Viper, and there's 19 denies for Dundee to 4, but the setup of the kills is great. And I did want to mention during the draft that Empire's one of these teams where they'll take the Mirana for their primary farmer, which is usually a great way to lose games. But with Empire, I don't mind because they're usually going to run multi-core. And Silent's not your traditional, I'll farm up and play really, really late game with my carry anyway. He's very into using his carry spells and actually bringing them involved into fights. Like that play that they just did right now, that was like what Funnick does when he plays Mirana, but it's their nominal one player doing it.
Well, Mirana's also going to be hitting level 6 soon. We've seen a lot of Moonlight Shadow usage throughout today, very effectively either to escape or more often to actually even set up kills here, especially when you've got a hero like Shadow Shaman, who you want to get in close with for the Hex/Shackles initiation. Having a Moonlight Shadow early can really help out. Now the Mirana is level 6 as well.
Yeah, Mirana is just a hero that has amazing spells. If you get in there and are able to use them effectively, then yeah, I mean, the pick absolutely pays off. And so far, Silent, whenever we see him on Mirana, I feel he's able to make plays happen and not just sort of get a bunch of items and then not do too much compared to other carries.
Well, for those of you just tuning in, this is your TECHLABS winner bracket final. Navi managed to 2-0 Virtus Pro. Empire 2-0 Power Rangers, making their way into the winner bracket finals with this $25,000 LAN tournament held in Moscow. And right now, Empire lead 1 game to nothing. They took game 1. Navi are fighting on the back foot here. There is a lower bracket for whoever loses this matchup, but definitely the easier route to the grand finals is taking this series here.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we have seen Navi drop down to losers brackets before come out. Actually, the roar doesn't happen, so really, really smart timing for resolution with this ball lightning. Avoids Funnick's roar. That's another failed gank. So that's 2 ganks for the Beastmaster since getting roar, neither of which worked.
And he hardly used any mana as well. It wasn't like he zipped all the way back to his tower. He stays in this lane because he's still got almost full mana after just doing like a melee range zip at that point. That was just some great reaction time from Resolution.
It really was. I really like this player. I'm glad to see him on a high-level team like Empire. They're going to smoke up, so if Empire just keeps getting their ganks off and they hold Dendy down, it's going to be a really, really difficult game for Navi, even though I think in this game they actually had a little bit of a better draft.
They may actually kill Dendy here if they use that Moonlight Shadow to initiate. Dendy...
Yeah, they could.
Zip in from the storm. That's the other option, actually, of course. Then you're going to get Hex up to follow. The Shackles is their easy kill for Empire.
Nice.
No need to use the Moonlight Shadow. What am I talking about? Now
and they can push right off of it, because that gave him 6, that kill.
Funnick's got his roar up, but you can't really use it against an Abaddon. You can't really defend this lane too easily. The Serpent Ward's on the ground. The next creep wave coming in with a siege unit, and this will be Tier 1 tower for Empire. 3 kills to 1. Now tower side falling. I've already called it. I have to see if Na'Vi try and make a defense of this one. They do have Familiars up on the Visage. They've got a lot of heroes here as well, and they're trying to defend this.
I can't imagine them actually. The deny is all they can afford.
They have to be careful not to get arrowed there as well. Shadow Shaman gets the last hit with the Serpent Ward, so that'll get him up to his Arcane Boots as well. And Empire are just looking like they're in a really good position here in game number 2.
Yeah, they really are. Na'Vi were absolutely counting on being able to make that swap that you referenced earlier, where you swap Fost into that lane to get a bunch of farm, and swap Funnick out to get ganks. And just the fact that he basically went through now 3 Roar cycles, like if he was using it on cooldown, and hasn't been able to make it happen. But it looks really bad for Na'Vi now, but that's partially because it's daytime. Once we hit second night, Fost is going to have probably an armlet by then. That might change things.
Well, second night's coming in 1 minute. Oh.
Yeah. But he should be. He definitely will finish.
Oh wow! That is a ridiculously fast armlet.
Well, he has 69 last hits because he's Fost and he's amazing at PvE.
he's just been farming away, and I kind of like this because that first nighttime comes so early, and when you're not a solo Midnight Stalker, you're not getting much experience in farming. I'm gonna see Moonlight Shadow being used. What are they actually looking for here?
One of the things about Night Stalker that took a little while for teams to realize, I think, is that the first night coming at 4 minutes doesn't mean, you know, it's like get 8-0 time. It's going to be a fairly rare game where you're able to dominate that first night just because you don't have the levels, especially if you're side lane.
He had to share the experience, so.
Right. But what it does do is give you so much more opportunity to just not be a terrible hero that has trouble farming. Like, you can suddenly just be very, very difficult to gank and quite strong. So it gives you the opportunity to hit that second night and do really well. And Empire knows that. That's why you see them trying to shut him down just at the beginning of the second night. But they're too late. They see the armlet, they see that the night started, they can't do it.
Yeah, with the armlet pickup, there is no way you can kill this guy. They're going to be surprised by this timing. Havos only level 8 with a phase armlet. This nighttime is crucial for Na'Vi. They need to be getting kills with this night, so he's immediately rotating towards mid. And I wouldn't be surprised if Empire just play it very passively, but they're going to go in for a kill on Dendy. They'll kill Dendy. Can they get out of this one, though? Venomancer rotating with the Gale. Here comes your Night Stalker, but immediate Serpent Wards dropped. I don't even mind seeing those Serpent Wards get dropped and missed, just because it's hit nighttime. If Havos starts getting kills, this game goes poorly for Empire, and just denying that entrance into the fight is crucial there.
I completely agree, and if they don't feel like they're going to be pushing another tower in this night phase, which they may very well not, it's totally fine to just use those wards as insurance against bad things that could happen to your team. Still, I do think that this is a dangerous position. Oh, they found the bird. That's a big loss. Yes. That's a huge deal not having that bird for vision in this area.
You need it when you're trying to dive under that tier 1 tower. The axes come in. They should know fully well that there's going to be a Night Stalker coming in at this point. They actually just see him. Na'Vi are going for just a straight head up put. I'm not a big fan of this. They make it the tier 1 tower, but just getting a tier 1 tower during nighttime when your Night Stalker's just got his armlet doesn't really seem like it's enough for them right now.
I mean, it's certainly not the best possible state of affairs, but it is really, really nice to get free access to that jungle. Don't give Empire a point to do counter ganks, and sort of give the Night Stalker the ability to roam here in this entire quartile without getting seen.
Na'Vi aren't done, maybe. They may just go for the tier 2 tower. Empire need to look for trades. They're doing so at top lane. Mag's finished up a mech on his Viper, so even though it's nighttime, with a mech up, they could maybe look to fight here. They've got a pretty good just 5-man here. Abaddon hits level 6 now as well, so he's got decent points in his shield as well as his miscoil. And Na'Vi, they're not done pushing. They're going to go for the tier 2, but Empire, tier 1 tower, going to go the way of the Viper. And now the TP is starting to come back towards the bottom lane. There is a glyph, and it looks like Empire want to try and hold this one.
Yeah, they can give it a shot. It's not going to be the easiest thing, but they do know that OD's not here, so...
Abaddon's on TPing in. He's got a point in that borrowed time now, so he can't really be focused on. He may get forced to use it, does do so. Miscoil someone. Oh, uses it a bit late, so he takes extra damage there. Always want to fly as well, taking a lot of damage on the front line. Forces the invis here. The shield actually, the heal, and shield, sorry, just the shield saves Always want to fly. Here comes his Stormstrip Zippin. He's looking for Kuroki, but roared up. Resolution in trouble. Now gets silenced. This is going to be a kill here for Na'Vi. Oh, the shield gets rid of the silence. Meanwhile, Viper kills the Venomancer, and Na'Vi get nothing. This Abaddon play has been spot on. The Serpent Wards go down. Havos is going to die during the nighttime. They're not done here. They're looking for Kuroki as well, and Abaddon is still alive on red HP. He's in this fight. The poison damage ticking away. He denies himself as well. Empire just playing out of their minds right now here in the bottom lane.
In both games, always want to fly in Van Square.
Arrow. Oh my. Silent and Mag just teaming up perfectly. The Familiars are going to stun them off, but Funnick is still going to go down.
Yeah, this is, to me, this is just a series so far where Empire's supports have just shown why Empire is such an underrated team. People don't know who Vanscore is really. People don't know who Always Wanna Fly is. I mean, people who have been really into the scene know, but they're not your sort of household names as far as
these
supporting.
guys are top 3 in Europe in my
They
opinion.
are, absolutely.
Navi, Alliance, Empire. Like some people,
Yeah.
the only other team you could argue would be Fnatic, but at this point I feel Empire are stronger than Fnatic.
I don't know how good Fnatic are. Like, they're really, really amazing in some games, and then in some games they just lose. So it's really hard to say. But absolutely, I think those teams are right. They're worthy of being in the conversation. And this game from Abaddon, how did he save Resolution? Just like pinpoint usage of his abilities. Resolution should have died, and Navi should have won that fight.
That's Abaddon playing that fight was definitely the MVP of that clash there. Resolution was in over his head. He got hit by an arrow and then silenced up, and the shield just came in, and this shield does not have a very long cast range. It's not exactly that big, and he's still
just the
found a way to
timing,
get it off.
and they're validating that first pick so well by just using him in exactly the right ways.
Puppy
meanwhile is gonna do solo rush.
Earlier on, he also saved the Shadow Shaman. Shadow Shaman was taking a lot of damage under the tower. Nightstalker was coming in to finish him off, and I mean, he saved many lives and then denies himself. So.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that Navi got nothing because he actually got the deny for the missed quote.
They got the 1 kill on the Shadow Shaman eventually, but a 1 for 3 trade, not worth it. Navi are going to sneak this little Roshan here, which is a nice pickup for them.
It is.
It's still Empire are just farming all over the map. They've got Mirana at top lane, they've got heroes in the jungle farming, now a Yash up on your Viper, and they've also kind of got some pressure happening towards this bottom lane. Navi smoke up. Uh-oh, they're going to find Mag here. Mag could be in a lot of trouble. Moonlight Shadow being used. Navi have got Sentry Ward detection. This should be a kill here on Mag. No way out for him. Not even going to get his mech off. And well, Empire looks like they're going to maybe look for something in exchange here as Navi TP 1 hero to the top lane. That's your Puppy Venomancer. They want to engage. They could maybe try and do so, but they've been spotted out by a Navi Observer Ward at bottom.
Uh-oh. Dendi. Oh my god.
Stop. I don't think it's... Oh, the Shackles gets cancelled. He cancelled himself. Resolution with another Remnant. We'll finish off Dendi. Now at Voss, he's got the armor. The Soul Assumption's coming in. Resolution in trouble. Tries to earn himself up. One more Soul Assumption. The Mist Coil not going to be enough to heal him up. Storm's Root goes down. Now Always Wanna Fly in trouble. Another Soul Assumption. Kuroki just sniping heroes one by one. Next up is Vangscore. He's surrounded. Silent going to leap his way into this one. Going to force back Kuroki. Kuroki taking a lot of damage. Offensive Earn Charge on Funnick, and Funnick may go down here. The bottle charge trying to keep him alive. The Mist Coil going to finish him off. So Navi gets some key hero kills there, but they still take heavy losses on Dendi as well as Funnick.
It could have been worse. They almost lost Hwus. They almost lost Kuroki. And that would have, if they had lost that, that would have been just, not GG, but they would have been way too far behind.
Yeah.
I do think Navi are being very smart about their items. Like, they have, instead of putting the mech on the OD, which is what you would typically see when OD was last commonly picked, they went for the mech on Venomancer to enable Dendi to go straight for the Force Staff. And Force Staff here is fantastic. It lets you try to get out of the effective range of the Viper, because if Viper doesn't actually hit anything on you, he can't close the distance to start hitting you. Yeah. The other great thing is that it gets you out of ward traps. And now they're going to have 2 Force Staffs as soon as Beastmaster finishes his.
And I like that we're seeing Kuroki get a lot of farm on his Visage. He's already, like, 2/3 of the way to finish with an Aghanim Scepter. All he needs is another 1.1k gold, and a very early Aghanim Scepter is actually going to do a lot of damage against Empire. Having that extra lockdown as well is going to be really nice.
I could definitely be very, very high impact. But Empire are building items too. I mean, Always Wanna Fly, despite being in the hard support position, has a Blink Dagger completed for Shadow Shaman. Yeah. Sure, his first initiation with it wasn't amazing because they just didn't quite know the parameters of what they were getting into and how many Navi heroes were there. But they've solved that. They've put wards basically everywhere. And now I think the Shadow Shaman could definitely make some kills happen.
Yeah, and that Orchid on the Storm Spirit's coming up in just a couple hundred gold as well. So that's going to be another key little pickup here. Diffusal Blade from Mirana. So we're going to see a Moonlight Shadow being used. Navi haven't seen this one in Empire. Going to cross the river, maybe go into the enemy jungle. They can get past this Plague Ward here, and well, Kuroki is nearby. This should be a kill here on Kuroki. Oh, he's going to zip past. He's going to go on Kuroki now. Dodges the Gale as well. Finds Dendi here. Arrow's going to land on Puppy here. We're going to see Empire going. The Serpent Wards are there. The Roar gets used. Always Wanna Fly. Where's your Abaddon? He's going to shield it off. Mist Call as well. Always Wanna Fly goes down anyways. So far, 1-0 in Navi's favor, and they're not done here. They're looking for the Abaddon. He's going to pop the ultimate. Havos should be able to chase him down, get this kill. Empire have gone in a bit in over their heads here in the enemy jungle.
Yeah, that was a pretty... That was quite a bad fight, because now it's 2 fights in a row that Empire choose a spot that they have zero vision of. They have no idea how many people they're trying to kill, right? their team right now, given their farm, isn't really that favored in one of those like big 4v4 clashes, especially at nighttime or under Nightstalker Ultimate. So to pick a fight, like, so now they had very good vision of this side of the map there, but they picked a fight here instead where they had no vision. Resolution goes for, he couldn't decide who to go on. Like, he jumped in, he saw one person, and then he's like, oh no, there's two more people here. Maybe I'll go for OD. Then Veno chases him, he runs away from the OD, and so Storm Spirit wastes 3/4 of his mana before doing a single point of damage.
Yeah, it felt like he did a lot of scouting that fight, but not really.
Yeah,
didn't really do a whole lot to actually.
Storm Spirit Scout is like not too top tier.
And Empire just don't really their lineup isn't about the burst damage. Like, they win this, they do well in the sustained fights, but Na'Vi can just burst down heroes really fast. You zip in and pull someone, you don't have immediate follow-up. You have maybe an arrow coming in from afar. You have like maybe a Viper who can do a bit of extra right-click damage or even pop down a Viper strike, but
wow,
their burst damage is not very impressive.
Empire are just, they really, really want to make something of this. They're now out of smokes for 10 minutes.
Puppey gonna reveal it from the high ground here, it looks like. Meanwhile, there's a wraparound coming from Resolution as well as Always Wanna Fly. Who are they going to jump on here? They've called out Funnick, it looks like. He's going to force stuff, not going to happen. He gets pulled during it. That's going to pull him back. The Familiar Sons are there. There's going to be a Sandy's Eclipse coming in from Dendy. The Raw goes down and Always Wanna Fly, immediately shielded up. That keeps him alive. Mag now in a bit of trouble. He's used the Viper Strike. He's being focused down. Dendy gets the kill. Serpent Wards are down, but Na'Vi are just too tanky right now. They're still all sitting very healthy, and well, Always Wanna Fly is the next to go down. He's not going to be saved by this Moonlight Shadow. Oh! They almost get the Abaddon there. The Familiar Sun just half a second too late. And Resolution onto the high ground.
I'm kind of... Gods, maybe you can enlighten me. Do Empire have somewhere to be? Like, they're playing so impatiently and taking these bad smoke gank fights 3 times in a row now.
They're somewhat afraid of just Na'Vi in the late game for whatever reason, but
why?
they need to be afraid of Na'Vi in the mid game during nighttime. They've got a Voss with an Armlet BKB. He's got a BKB and Armlet at 22 minutes in on Nightstalker. This is a lot of farm on Havos.
Yeah, absolutely. Ghost is enormous now. The Nightstalker is, and he still has Aegis for another minute.
They need to see a shield come out. He is silenced up. There's your shield here. The Familiar Sun's going to chain stun. Veinscore doesn't have ulti. He's going to go. Oh no, not down yet. They're going to lose the Nightstalker Aegis, but that Aegis was expiring in the next minute or so anyways, so. Not the biggest loss for Na'Vi, although they don't get any kills out of it just yet, but they found Mag now. He's already used the mech. The BKB from Havos gets used. They're going to get the... Oh, Veinscore. Ultimate comes off cooldown just in time. Onto Resolution they go. The Banish on the OD, so we can't... On the Abaddon, so they can't actually save Resolution. The Raw going to bring him down. Great play from Dendy as well as the rest of Na'Vi. They banish the Abaddon. They focus on the Storm Spirit with the Silence, and they're going to get 2 important kills here. The tier 2 tower should follow, and Na'Vi suddenly start pulling away here in game number 2. They want to go to a game 3.
Yeah, your lead is never safe against Na'Vi, ever. They are one of the teams that will absolutely not just roll over, and they know exactly how defensive to play, so when they need to, they'll defend high ground, but otherwise they'll absolutely just get one good fight and completely turn it around. That's 2 towers and 5 kills that they've gotten in about a minute and a half, and all they traded for it was basically Kvost's Aegis, which was going to fall in a minute.
It would have already expired by now.
Right.
It's already reached that 6-minute point. So.
And Empire, because they had this all-in strat, like this, well, it's not the picks, but the way that they've been playing them has been so, like, we want to just win right now, right up into and including the Diffusal Blade for Silent. That's just, like, no carry potential with that, basically, or much more limited compared to some of his other build options. It's just, we want to shut down the OD right now, we want to land good arrows right now. But now they don't have smoke for probably 8 more minutes. Oh no, yeah, 7 minutes of no smoke and no map control, and Nightstalker is huge.
Oh, Resolution needs to be careful. There's a Beastmaster force up into a Raw here. The Resolution's dead. The poison damage will secure it. He's not even going to get the zip out. Even if he did, he dies to the poison damage.
Damn.
That is just something you can't afford to have happen right now. Na'Vi, they're going to have complete control over this next Roshan, which is respawning anytime in the next 3 minutes. They've got Necrobook 2 up on the Venomancer as well, not far from Necro 3. We'll probably see, yeah, Necrobook coming out on Beastmaster as well. Na'Vi are going to look to end this game as early as possible. And bottom lane, Always Wanna Fly just blinks out in time. Some nice reactions from him, but
yeah,
how much is this going to matter?
And they've just had trouble in these really mobile ganks. Like, for instance, they haven't gotten much with the Viper either. Like, he comes in, but Navi's either really well positioned. That's the main thing against Viper. Like, if he starts on top of you, then yeah, you're going to die. But Mag hasn't been able to keep focus firing those main heroes like Ghost, like Dendy.
Oh, another blink out from Shadow Shaman. Always Wanna Fly's been pretty on point with these, but Fancy Footwork is not going to win you the game here, as we're going to see Resolution taking a bit of damage, gets healed up immediately by the Abaddon, and Na'Vi are going to start their siege. They're waiting for the Necrobooks to be delivered. The Courier brings an Aghanim Scepter for Kuroki. Puppy's Necrobook 2 should be on it. Yep, and Sensuals as well. So this bottom lane, we may just see Raxus fall right here if Empire can't find a way to defend.
Yep. They did a little bit of split pushing, so they at least got a tier 2. Yep. Mirana can go towards, I don't even know, probably Manta Style next now because he has the Asha. So that makes a lot of sense, I feel. But Na'Vi, I mean, with the 7.5k gold, almost 10k XP advantage, just accrued over 2 or 3 fights, most of which Empire picked. Now Na'Vi understand that this game's basically in their grasp. They're not going to give up on it.
They've got the Beastmaster already to give them extra damage here. Arrow not going to land. Resolution zips and they've used the Moonlight Shadow, but Na'Vi are ready for this one. They've got BKB on her boss. He pops it. The triple Familiars are there. Great micro coming out from Farouk. He gets multiple stuns off. Na'Vi still healthy. Venomancer taking a lot of damage. Just saves a clips from Dendi. Gets Empire low. They're going to look to finish off the Viper. Next up is Vaynescore. He's already used the ultimate. Storm Spirit's on the run back to base, and Empire lose 3. Dendi gets low. He TP's out. Venomancer's still alive. He's still in the fray. Necrobook 2 on the ground, and Rax is going to fall. And now we're going to see Na'Vi take a big game 2 lead, possibly even secure themselves the victory here. Empire, there's little they can do. One more zip in from Resolution, immediately chain stunned by the Familiars, gets nuked down and brought down. Empire may just be out right now, right here.
Yeah,
GG.
It looks like we're going to go to game 3. I mean, well-deserved win from Na'Vi, I feel. There was a moment, Empire were doing a very good job in the early mid-game of rotating around.
The very early game, they were like up on kills and just seemed to be dealing. It was that second nighttime that came. 12 minutes in, Armlet on the boss, and while it didn't immediately show, Na'Vi just pulled ahead.
Yeah, and Na'Vi did one other extremely smart thing. Dendi was really struggling early, and you just saw this experienced team play from them where they're like, okay, our OD is struggling, we'll commit more resources to defending him. We'll change our item loadouts to give him more space by adding those 4 staffs. And then all of a sudden, Dendi's not dying anymore. And every time they try to go on him, like that jump in the near the tier 1 Radiant bot, all of Navi's suddenly there. Kuroki's there spamming out his spells and just completely messing you up. And Kvost and Funnek are just on top of you. So Empire, they played okay, but then I feel they got impatient and got scared, and as a result, Navi's able to take.
When you foil like the first 3 or 4 Beastmaster role games, you're probably thinking like, hey, we're looking really good. This Beastmaster's done almost very little, next to nothing for the first 10-15 minutes of the game, but Na'Vi were just patient. They knew they had what it takes to win those fights from like the 15 to 25 minute mark, even without the early kills, even with that slight early game deficit, they still turn it around.
And also, there was so much time. Empire weren't really able to shut down Na'Vi down during days when Hwost was still farming, and so Hwost farmed so fast that the nights just completely flipped.
Well, Na'Vi take game 2. We're going to a game 3, guys. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, myself as well as Vikramon will be live. Stay tuned.